Hello and welcome to Thalric Plays Wizard of Legend. This is going to be my first, well, in this case, probably you could call it a test episode, so I'm not sure if you are gonna get to see this specific episode. So I haven't really recorded anything with this game before, so right now I am just going to do a quick, well, depends on how long I live, I guess. I'm just gonna do a run and see how things are going to go. I am also going to go and choose my own stuff here this time. So far, I've been trying to play the game with the a guy. I forgot his name. I'm gonna have to look that up for future reference. He built a randomizer online that I've been using to build random runs, just so that I basically just get presented with a random run that we can go with. But right now I'm gonna go with, I think it might have been the combination that I won my first run with, but we're gonna have to see if I can do that. I'm gonna go through what this game is all about in just a moment, but yeah, just give me a moment to set everything up here, and then we can get started and see where things are gonna go. Yeah, let's go with the brand. And for signature, I still... this one. So, I think at least this is very close to what I had when I got my first real win on this game. So yeah, Wizard of Legend is a roguelike game that is built around you do a run and then you basically start anew. Overall, you have, as you can see, or as you have seen, I put on an outfit. In that case, the outfit does give me, it's called Awe. Basically, it gives me increased critical chance and increased critical damage. I paired that with a relic, which we can look at here, the Vampire's Eyeglasses, which allow me to regenerate health every time I land a critical hit. So it's one of the recommended combinations to go for, since it allows you to heal right out of the gate, which is not necessarily guaranteed that you get a way to regenerate health during the run outside of buying health potions. And then you've got... for spells that you go for one, it's your basic attack, and I like this one, might be my favorite one, just because it basically it rotates around you, so you can not only hit things in front of you but behind you as well, so you're pretty safe. Then you've always have a dash ability. The wave dash is pretty good because it gives you this water ball in front of you, so you can push enemies away. Got the Dragon Blast, which pulls enemies in and then pushes them outwards again. And then we also have the Lightning as the signature arcana, which basically allows you to jump in between enemies and go for that. And if you empower that, which is this bar, basically, it's going to be blue, as you've seen now, basically. You get the better version of your signature arcana, increases damage, makes all that go up higher. So this is the hub world, if you want to call it that. Here I would be able to buy arcana if there still were some to buy, but there aren't. Here we could buy relics. Then we've got the area on the upper right where I would be able to buy outfits, but I've bought all of those as well. And up here, this guy allows you to choose which level you start with, but I'm not going to touch that. But I am going to give her 20 of my Chaos Gems to start with 200 gold, just to give myself a bit of a start. I don't have another use for my Chaos Gems anyways. So, let's just jump in and see. So as you can see, this is the order we're going to go: fire, earth, water, and then the last boss. So basically the three council members, which is the fire, the earth, and the water bosses, changed. So it's not always the same which you fight against here. But yeah, right now I have to fight my way through 2 levels, then fight a council member, fight my way through 2 levels again, fight a council member, do that one more time, and then we get to fight the last boss, Master Sutra, I believe he's called. Something like that. But yeah, basically, let's just jump in. I'm gonna show what this game is all about. So there... oh, whoops. Since I am right now, we're going up against the fire boss first. The stage is themed in that way. Right now, these enemies are neutral enemies, which you can see by the color that they have going on. But there will be enemies of certain elements here. In this case, it's most likely going to be fire, I believe. Yep, because we are... well, we might see. I'm not sure we are, but usually you do. But just to show some stuff here, basically use the water ball that you create there to push enemies away. Right now we've got the issue with the fire on the corners. And I took a bit of damage there because I walked into that. See, these guys are red, so they are fire-based and they have more abilities. So we've got these, the fire aura around them, so if I get too close, I take damage. Which is pretty bad, of course. So we're going to try to remove that. So on each floor, outside of the boss floors, you get 3 shops. They are random, but right now we've got the Arcana vendor here, so I could, for one, buy one of these 3, or I could buy... He always sells one enhanced version. So I could buy an enhanced version of my Wavefront in this case, so the Water Dash. But we're not going to do that right now. I do have the money, but I want to see what other shops you have. You always get a vendor that sells items, so you always have a relic shop. And you usually have, I believe, you usually have the Arcana one as well, but it's not necessarily guaranteed. I've been playing this game a lot, and I never really paid attention to what is always there and what isn't, because so far it wasn't necessary, but yeah, we'll see. So as you can see, this is our relic shop, so there's always a potion plus 4 items. So right now, I'm gonna see about that. I'm gonna buy the Cartographer's Quill right away. There might be a point to be made to get the Resolute Svalin as well, but let's show the Cartographer's Quill. So it increases my damage based on how much of the map I have revealed, and the damage increase lasts for the entire trial. So since we're on the first floor and I bought it now, if we always explore everything, my damage is going to go up quite a bit. So I thought it was worth it to buy that one right away, since we are going to get a lot out of that. The one that was on sale, the Resolute Svalin, I thought could be useful because it reduces the fire damage you take, I believe. Which would be useful since we are right now on the fire floor. But it's also, the first 2 floors are the easiest to get. So I don't really think it's necessary. So this is the 3rd shop, if you want to call it that, is the guy... Oh, whoops, that was dumb, that was so dumb. Usually there aren't any more of these effects once the enemies are beaten, but in this case there were. So what he does is you can sell him relics, and he gives you money for those. So if you ever end up picking up a relic that you don't really need or anything, you can sell that to get more money, because you not only can you buy relics, you can find them or get them as rewards from beating bosses. And then my all-time annoying enemies, the Lancers. The level 1 Lancers are still pretty easy, but once we get into the later levels, so level 2 and 3, after beating the first council members, enemies gain additional abilities, and you'll see why I don't like them then. For one, they've got the increased range, of course, with their lance, and that's just overall pretty annoying. At least with this one, because this one's got a good coverage all around you, but it doesn't offer too much in terms of range in front of you. And that sometimes, depending on when you start attacking these, you can't only hit them, but they can hit you. Oh boy. Which comes with some issues. So I'm not really doing a good job right now at not taking damage. Once again, I think my gameplay itself is going to suffer a little bit because now I'm trying to talk over it, whereas so far I've been able to just focus on dealing damage and or playing and not talking over it. I don't really have to think about it. I'm just going to wait for his aura to wear off, which is now the case. There is also a rock, paper, scissors mechanic here, so some elements are strong against others and weak against other ones as well. But I think wind is one of the more solid ones, so there isn't a real counter for all of this. But yeah, we'll see. So far I haven't really... I mean, it just means you either deal a little bit more or a little bit less damage, which isn't... does obviously have some sort of significance. Whoops, that was dumb. But as long as you evade damage, it's not really the end of the world. So, every stage has a bit of a mini-boss. In this case, we get the Fleet Lancer, which is, at least in level 1, pretty easy to beat overall, since he always does one attack and then has a pretty big gap where he is vulnerable. So as long as you evade him, there we go. Once he's no longer yellow, you stun him, basically, while attacking, so it's pretty easy and doable. And I usually fight the boss at the end, because if you paid attention to the stone in the beginning, you have the skull for the boss, and then 3 around it, which is based on the amount of enemies you've beaten already. So the earlier you fight him, the more enemies will spawn in the boss room, and I don't really want that. So I am also going to buy the Cobalt Firestone. since it summons an aura that damages nearby enemies, which is pretty good. I'm not gonna buy a healing potion here. I'm gonna hope that I'm gonna be better and not just screw my first run. Instead, we are gonna spend the money, take the upgraded wavefront. So if you can see, every version has an enhanced ability. So this one would we would throw 2 discs at the same time, and if I can get that one, I will do so. What wavefront does, it increases the shield durability, so it throws out the shield sticks around longer, I think, something like that. But I like it usually. I feel like it gives us a good value. So stage 1 gives us a quick view of what I did, how long it took, all that stuff. So let's try to speed things up a bit while taking less damage. Our damage capabilities has gone up a bit because the Cobalt Firestone is pretty good. So it summons an aura that damages nearby enemies. So as long as I'm near enemies, they take damage. And with this ability, so our basic dash, we're usually pretty close to enemies. And one thing you can do with this game is also push enemies into these gaps. There's obviously, I always knew the name, and now that I'm gonna have to talk over it, it completely escapes me. Chasms, whatever you want to call them. So right now this is still, I'm just making sure that the spear guys can't do too much to me. If I can pick up a crit item, I wouldn't mind it anyways. I hate the fire archers, since their shot is pretty wide. So let's see if we can take this one out. And the reason I like the lightning ability as much as I do is because it basically makes you invulnerable while it's going. So the shock assault. The issue is you always end up where you started. Pick up the regenerative in the ancient foundry pen. I actually don't quite remember what this one is. I mixed it up with another one. So even though I played this game for a lot already, I'm learning the relics. There are quite a few. Let's do that. Be safe there. Nope, that was just horrible. I don't want to get caught up in the explosions. Ultimately, they killed themselves there, but yeah, I landed in a hole, so that was not quite how that was supposed to go. But let's just see about that. Then we've got these guys. Usually not that big of an issue. These ones I don't like, the one on the top right, because their orbitals that surround them go basically go further back in and out, so it's kind of difficult sometimes to see if you're going to get hit or not, the way they rotate. But we'll see. So the good thing about the Dragon Blast is that it pulls enemies in first. Yeah, also kind of a problem. So you can pull them in and still get them to fall in before you push them back. The issue with the Shock Assault is if you use it close to this, and basically I would have Shock Assault him there, you basically end up falling in, which is what ended up here. So I need to pay a bit more attention, either use it from further away or just not use it there. So one issue this build that I'm going for has is right now it doesn't have a lot of reach. I'm good for mid to close range combat, but I don't really have a whole lot in terms of long range. So either I'm gonna have to be good with my timing and not fall down when I dash over somewhere, or just be generally smarter about things. Because right now I'm not doing a good job. I'm taking a lot more damage than I usually do. I kind of expected that to happen. I was hoping it wouldn't, but well. I just have to pay a bit more attention to my moves, like basically forcing them in a corner with the water ball, and then we can just basically stun lock them. So this is what I meant. If these have glowing eyes, basically, there's going to be more enemies spawning in. Since that is not the case, I could fight the boss now, but I usually just explore everything before we fight the boss, just so that I've done everything. And wow, yeah, okay, that is not obviously an issue that I haven't been thinking about. Just walking in basically makes the Cobalt Firestone trigger, which will lead to that exploding. So this is this game's version of a cursed shop. So these items you can pick up for free, but they always come with a drawback. I'm gonna pick up the Alchemist Stone because that basically has no drawback here. It means all Chaos Gems gained during the trial are transmuted into gold, which is bad for progression, but good for us since I've already bought everything I can with the Chaos Gems. I've got 998. So this item right now only has a plus for us, since it basically gives us more gold, which is pretty good. So let's just see if we can do this guy without taking damage at all. Just regenerating, that would be ideal. We're gonna have to wait and see. So he also, the early Crash Knight is really easy. You can just, he's gonna charge you once, and once he's no longer invulnerable, you just stun lock him and knock him down. I am gonna be on the safe side here, I think, though. And I think the Ancient Fountain Pen did every time I use my Arcana, it deals more damage. But I am gonna pick up healing here. We would be able to heal in the future as well. And just for the fun, I'm gonna pick up the Equestric Cab. I'm spending a bit more money, so than I really want to, but it's fine. So I got the potion, I've got full HP again. The Equestric Cab is basically, as far as I'm aware, I mean, aside from us having a nice horse head now, is it allows me to get to max speed faster. So basically, if you start running, once you hit a threshold, you're gonna start running faster. And the Equestric Cab just gets you there quicker. So it's completely a comfort option. So as we can see, basically, before every real boss, you get one of those healing crystals, which is 3 orbs, to heal about, I think, 75, usually. Which could have been good enough, but I wanted to be safe, so I bought the potion, and then we'll see. So, we get the Flame Emperor Zeal, which we've already seen. Whoops, okay, I already started out bad. So these follow a set rule. The first floor boss always it goes for 3 attacks, and then you have a gap to attack him, which is what we did. So that's number 2, that's number 3, and I already know that I can go in again and hit her. So, we do know that that is their pattern. Or that's the pattern for the first boss. The attacks here can differ. And I'm still not doing a good job, basically. That is her most annoying attack. It takes the longest, and it usually is pretty difficult to be close enough to her to really make use of that. Or to be able to attack her, depending on what kind of attacks you have. But overall, this is fine now. We can even go in with the water thing here, and that's it. So, I took some damage where I really shouldn't have, but it's okay. So we take her down, we get our reward, which is enough healing so that we're basically full again. We get an Empowered Arcana, the Bouncing Bubble, which is throw out a bubble of water that bounces every time it strikes an enemy or wall and increases the bubble speed and number of times it can strike enemies. So I've got 5, we can have 5 of those, and this is a long range ability now, which is pretty decent. As we can see, looks good, especially since it bounces a lot. We can't go back to pick up the health there, so that's something I have learned. And now we move over to the Earth realm, if you want to call it that. So we've got 2 Earth stages, and then we've got the Earth boss. And we are just gonna go in there. So, I think you get the gist of things now. You are gonna see these guys being able to do more stuff now, as well. And oh wow, really? We're just gonna have to wait and see how things are going to continue here. These guys you cannot stun lock, so I cannot bounce them, they cannot be pushed, you just have to kill them, pretty much. And especially in later stages, they throw those at you, or they throw them in the mix a little bit more. I'm definitely going to pick up the upgraded Dragon Blast, because it basically doubles it, at least visually, so it increases the blast area. It will allow us to hit enemies a lot easier, or just get more enemies affected by it at the same time. Overall. Whoops. The good thing is you can always cancel out of an animation by just dashing, pretty much. And I think I might do this one as well if I get enough money. So if you get the tailor inside the dungeon, he gives you the option for 100 gold and I think 100 HP, or it might be 125. We're gonna have to see that. To increase the efficiency of the outfit that you're currently wearing, basically. So what it would do for us right now is pretty much just, just increase our evasion chance and increase our crit chance and increase our critical damage. It was something like that. So it would allow us to heal a bit more, but we would take 100 damage in the process. So I'm not quite sure yet if it's worth it or not. We'll see. And also right now I do not have 100 gold, but we'll get there, I'm pretty sure. Especially with the Alchemist Stone in the mix, we should not really have a lot of trouble picking that up. Oh boy. So let's see. Okay, I pressed the wrong button, so things we are gonna have to get used to is me pressing wrong buttons, but everything right now, I mean, as you can see, as long as I don't screw up in my movement, these guys really shouldn't be too big of an issue. So the damage I took is kind of embarrassing. The good thing is once you find the boss room, you get access to the portals, so moving around is gonna be a bit more easier. And there you can see where the Dragon Blast, especially with the increased width, is gonna come in handy, since I can basically get all of them with that. So one thing they do is place the trees here a little bit to hide enemies behind it as well. So I usually, as long as I remember to, I try to kill those first, just to give myself more visibility in line of sight and make sure that we can. Wow, that was such a waste. Just make sure that we do not get caught off guard because there's going to be a rogue enemy or something of the sort hidden behind that. Wall. Let's see. Or not hidden behind the wall, hidden behind a tree, of course. See? There is also a point to be made to kill all the barrels and all the destructibles, because in this game, it's not just visual, there can actually be gold in there. That is always useful. Sprite could be nice. The Grimoire of Ruin is okay. Braces of the Beast, I don't remember what those do. I'm gonna have to look that up again. Sometimes I just buy items when I don't remember what they do, or I'm not quite sure and I just want to check. Right now we're gonna fight the boss first and then see what we're gonna buy, because we only have a limited amount of gold, and I might want to just go for the tailor upgrade, because it might be better, because it might allow us to heal more often out of just doing stuff, because it's going to increase our crit chance. So the good thing about the Shock Assault, it doesn't take that long to get empowered here with the signature. So it's, especially against bosses, it's pretty easy to get that upgraded version, and then we just deal a lot of damage and nuke them. So this is 2-1, which means we're going to have to get one more normal stage. Get those. I don't want to buy an Arcana. I think we're going to take this. Just in time, it's Seville. I've managed to acquire some high-quality threats that will boost your an outfit's effects. I think it's by 50%. So we pay 100 gold first. And then you forgot to mention that it might cause some discomfort. So we've got 465. Goes down to 340, actually. So 125 damage is what we take here. But now we're shiny and sparkling, quite literally. And that is going to increase the effectiveness by 50%. And I think I'm gonna invest in the damage as well and just pick up a Sprite. You can only have one Sprite at a time, so it summons a Sprite that shocks enemies. So one enemy at random here, that's the glowing thing around us, is gonna get shocked from time to time. There are freezing ones, there are burning ones, there are ones that I think there's a slowdown one, something like that. But yeah, you can only have one at a time, and right now it was there and on sale, and I think the sparking one, because it's electricity based, is pretty good. I think there isn't a lot of... once again, I hope we can get in 150 gold so I can pick up the enhanced air spinner. That one's really good. But we'll have to wait and see. That's why I wasn't sure about buying the Sprite, because it could now cost us something later on overall. There is no guarantee that the later shops are going to be better. Shops, I think, have a chance of just random items. There's no guarantee that a shop on the second floor overall is going to be better than on the third or the first, I believe. I might be wrong on that, but so far I haven't really noticed a big difference, at least, I could say. So, whoops. Moving around is pretty important, because evading damage is better than having the ability to regenerate damage, of course. It's nice that I can mitigate some damage, and that I can come back from having taken damage, and I'm not forced to buy healing potions the entire time. Yep, that's the room with those two. I'm not gonna go up there. You do your thing. But they just jump. Basically, they're completely predictable. So as long as you learn how to evade their stomp, they are exceptionally easy. Also, these guys, can I push him down? No, we cannot, but I can do this, which is also going to push him off and make him fall into the oblivion. I still can't think of the right word right now. Or I might have just... See, this is part of the issue with the shock assault. Because these small burst mages, they start shooting you when they see you first. And then you do the shock assault, you're no longer there, but you always end up where you started. And by the time you get back there, their shot is perfectly there, so you take damage. That's one of the things that always happens to me when I fight against them, so I'm gonna have to relearn my behavior there. And just delay that a little bit before we go in there. Yeah, it's a bit of a bummer that I wasn't able to, at least so far, pick up an item that increases my crit chance. There are some. There's a cursed item for that as well, I believe. I want to show this guy off, but I'm not going to. It's Nocturne the Cardist. Basically, he takes one of our cards at random. He very often, I feel like he takes the right click. But he sometimes can take the E ability as well, I think. And basically he shuffles it in with one of his own. And then you have to choose which one you pick up, but you can follow it if you're good at it. I'm not. Basically, he shuffles the cards around, and you always get back an enhanced Arcana. So it's not a basic one like this one, but it's always going to be an enhanced one, which has the additional effect. I don't think there's necessarily something here that I want to buy, so we can definitely buy our upgraded version of our normal Arcana here. And just see how that's going to work out. I'm just going to throw those out there and see if they hit stuff while bouncing. Just get the randomness factor in there. So we're just going to buy our upgraded Arcana at the end. Before we buy our boss here, though, pretty much, and then we'll see. So, not much there. So as you can see, the increased critical chance seems to be working pretty well. Because we're healing faster than I think we previously did. Just gonna teleport her here. This should be the shop, yep. And wow, we went up by 120 after all. So this is now, as you can see, it just doubles it. It gives you a disc behind you when you start, as well as in front of you. And it's just really awesome. Oh, Fleet Lancer later on is a little bit... He can do more, but he's still pretty easy to beat. So, oh boy. So I don't think, yeah, he gains that ability pretty much, but it's still extremely easy to evade, since he still follows the same pattern as one attack and then just go in. And we're back up to 500 now. Let me check the shop. Do I want the secret wild card, Ring of Recycling, Bracers of the Beast? I think those were fairly okay, but I think I'm gonna save the gold and just go heavier on the shops on the 3rd floor. Or, yeah. Because now we get another council member, so we do not need to heal, but we would have gotten the same again. Let me just... This is a bit cheesy, but you can clear... you can clear the trees to gain visibility on the side if you have a long-range attack, and I'm just doing that right now. To have a little bit more visibility. And also, we can move around, because they do block you from moving there. He's also very punny. So he's the Earth Lord Atlas. Since this is the 2nd stage now, what happens is he throws out... yeah, I'm doing terrible. He throws out 4 attacks instead of 3 right out the gate. So you have to evade 1 more attack. 1, 2... 3, and 4, and then you can hit him. And you can see though, wow, we are still taking way too much damage, but you can see that we are, yeah, one, yep, same issue as with the other one, that we are dealing a lot more damage, so we're killing him quite a bit faster, and I think I'm just gonna jump in and, yep, do this. And there we go. I took way too much damage. This is ridiculous. It's not okay. I feel pretty bad about that. But yeah, it's fine. It happens. So we get the Tracer Barrage, which looks pretty cool. So let's Check that out. So fire a volley of arcing tracers that return to you, and the tracers are larger and more numerous. So mid-range attack thing that also does pretty good, and we didn't have a fire attack yet, which is also good. But fire, I think, should be weak against water, maybe? Something like that. I really should know that, but once again, I haven't really paid too much attention to what is good against what. Just want to throw that out there once. But yeah, you can just throw them down there, and if you can manage to do that, they're just instantly dead. Hello. Nice, guys. Okay, nothing more spawning in. So not too horrible. These small rooms can be pretty difficult. And if you, these blobs, the further in you are, the further they break down. So in area 1, you just kill them. In area 2, they split once. In area 3, where we're at right now, they split twice, basically. So it takes a lot longer to kill them. So I'm not going to buy anything here. We've got enough Arcana. I'm happy with the Arcana that we've got, and I'd rather buy more relics in a bit. Wow, really? Buddy? Let's take... Oh, now I regret things, because we could have gotten this as the second half of another one, which right now we can't. This is the upper half of something. We don't really have water damage that much. I'm not going to buy it. I'm going to buy the dated sunglasses, though. But in the cursed shop we had the lower half of this. And both of those together do something, but I've got no idea what, because I've never gotten them together in one run so far. I've always seen one or the other, or I've seen one after I skipped the other. So I'm not quite sure what they do. I haven't seen it yet. So that would have been cool to see, but we're going to get there. There's one more item, which is similar, where I also haven't seen the combined version of it yet at all. So that's something we can explore together when the time comes. Yeah, damage of the lightning still is pretty awesome. As you can see, enemies get a bit more numerous, and they would be better as well, but we're okay. So the Harrow's Fangs, I know what they do. They lower your health by 200, but killing enemies allows you to regenerate health. We don't need that right now. We've got enough regeneration. I do not know what the Ominous Lone Note does, nor what the Abhorrent Cologne does right now. There are some that reduce your movement range, and those usually instantly cause you to fail, because I'm bad when I'm slow in this game. So I'm not quite sure if I want to buy some. I mean, for the fun factor, sure. Let's learn more about our cursed relics here. I'm gonna buy the Abhorrent Cologne, and we'll see what it does. So enemies have less health, but enemy damage is increased. Yeah, so basically, we get rewarded for better play. As long as I don't take damage, we are able to kill enemies faster, which is awesome, of course. But if we take damage, we take more damage, which is not good. But as long as I don't screw up, we're all fine. And our damage is already pretty high, so this can only escalate upwards. So as you can see now, that is one of those Lancers. They have a jump attack now, which is highly annoying. And that's what I meant, basically. In the first area, they're pretty easy to beat. But oh boy. Yeah, and this is bad. But the further you go into the game, the more abilities these guys get, and that can obviously cause some trouble. So that's the entire floor already, isn't it? Yeah, looks like it. So we are gonna go fight ourselves a boss now, and then I'm gonna see if I buy maybe something more. We get the counter rope again? Okay. Not a lot of variety in the enemy department right now. We can say that much. Oh, really? I missed. So the main issue with the counter rope is wow, but you see the increased damage. His window to get the stun lock on him is much smaller. So I can showcase this here, actually, because I just talked about it. This is the other item that can lead to a combined thing, because there is a cursed item that interacts with this. So the Wanderer's Mechanism, it increases the damage of my signature Arcana, which is pretty awesome. So the signature Arcana right now is our Q. It's always the Q, but it's the Shock Assault. And it's the core of the Perfect Time Crystal, and you can find the shell of the Perfect Time Crystal in the Cursed Shop. So we do still have a chance to get that. We can only get 3 more relics. I don't really need any of these. The elemental pointies could be good, but or points, but I don't think we need them. I think the thing is, if you use what they do, if I remember correctly, is if you use an arcana of a certain element and then switch element, the previous arcana gets a reduced cooldown. But that's something I don't really see the biggest or too big of a value in that, so I'd rather have my gold and relic spots for later, and the other things we could have gotten there also weren't that good. So I'm hoping for the last shop to have reasonably good stuff, and we'll just see what it's going to be. But this run is turning pretty strong. Oh yeah. So there are arcana that allow you to destroy enemy projectiles, and I don't have that, but you regularly get them. I feel like. So that's why I'm just hitting this. What we could do is, so she's one of the other ones you can get. It's Dr. Song. So she's studying the long-term, the effects of long-term arcana use. I can donate one of my arcana on random. Once again, I think it's usually just the Q, E, and R. So no, the right-click E and R. I haven't really paid attention, but I don't think I've never seen it pick this one. It might sometimes pick the Q, but I'm not sure. What it does, it usually gives you healing. It also gives you a healing related special relic. So for example, you pay half for potions in shops. Another alternative is that that all healing is increased, which is pretty good, obviously, with our passive healing out of crits that we get thanks to the sunglasses. So all that. But you lose an arcana, and it's random what you get, so you can't really control it. And right now it's not really worth it. We've got enough healing. We don't want to lose an arcana at random, especially since they're all empowered. It's just not really worth it. So we are just gonna leave that and go for that. So some of these could be good, but I'm gonna check out what the third shop is first, and what we can do there. I doubt we're gonna buy arcana or anything, but you never know, and we're just gonna have to wait and see. But our damage, thanks to picking up the abhorrent cologne, if we're not getting hit, we're doing a lot of damage right now. So damage-wise, we're kind of ridiculous on this run, so that worked out pretty well. And I think we've got a good chance of winning here. But as you can see, they charge you now. They do a lot more than they started off doing. But since we've got a good chance of evading them as well, and our damage is pretty high, we don't have a lot of issues, and we don't run a lot of danger in taking damage here. But obviously we are fueled by a bunch of stuff, so the thing is, why you can probably see why this is recommended, or at least a recommended combination between the outfit and the starting relic. Because me being able to heal out of the critical is exceptionally good. I would either have been dead a long time already, or I would have been forced to buy a lot more healing potions than we did if I hadn't done that. And you can also see why I like the upgraded version, because as long as we keep this up, we're basically, or we're more or less invulnerable. There are things that make you virtually impossible to kill with that one, at least against anything that doesn't have range, that just runs at you and tries to hit you in melee, which isn't a lot, because there's a lot of range and the lancers and stuff like that. But there's things that increase your, attack speed with this. Oh, I hate the level 3 burst mage though, so this might look different though. The level 3 burst mage is actually kind of difficult to beat. We got him shocked there once, but he's jumping around a lot, and he's always going for the spells. I'm gonna have to get rid of his health first. Luckily, thanks to my range, we can still get him pretty okay. But you can see he teleports around, he shoots these small barrages, which is a lot harder to evade, especially if there's enemies still around. So this is our last chance to buy stuff at the shop. So what do we go with? I think I can basically buy almost everything. I'm gonna buy, I keep forgetting what these do, so let's check it out. Damage received is expanded from my signature meter, while I have sufficient charge to shield the attack. So As long as we have a bar here, we lose that before we take damage. Pretty good. Let's pick up Blaze Drum. I always buy that because I keep forgetting what it does. Release a burst of lightning when we take damage, so we do that. And then I'm gonna buy Roxalt Pendulum because that reduces all cooldowns, which is good. So this cooldown is shorter than it used to be. And that's all we need. So I've got as much in the terms of relics as I can get. Now I would need to drop a relic to replace it with something new. We have full HP, and now we get to fight the Frost Queen Freya, which is our third council member, as the third boss. These also can do more the later you get them, basically. So on the third floor, they gain an extra ability. Let's see if she goes for it right away. She does. She only has this ability if you get her as the third. I also didn't count. So this is 3, 4, and 5, and now we should be able to attack her. Yeah, so as per usual, or as you might expect, these follow a pattern. So first floor... Oh boy, I hate this one. Well, it's actually, if you start at the right spot, it's not that bad. And our damage is still completely ridiculous. And there, was it? Yeah. You can really see how our damage spiked just overall in these three, because we kill her extremely fast. Which I think I might actually want to change this one. No Shockwire. No, we don't need to. So yeah, before we move on to the next one, or the last one, just basically, we could get her as the first floor boss next time and have the Earth guy be the third one, for example. So they're different every time, but right now our damage just is so high that it didn't really matter. She just goes for 5 attacks, and then you've got the small gap to hit her. He also goes for 5, I believe. Well, not really. The first phase is a bit different here. So this is Master Sura. That's what it was, not Sutra. Master Sura. So this is him. So he's gonna shield himself right away. And he's got the void attack. So basically, once you get rid of his shield, he's got a few seconds where you can, or I think it's damage based, where you can hit him. But right now I got, unfortunately, hit in that one. Pretty bad, so you need to kind of evade that. Yeah, I don't think we gain a lot out of the bouncing ball. That's a bit of a gimmicky, but that's the first phase already. You get more healing after the first phase as well. But now he's gonna really go at us. So this is the one where I usually die if I end up dying, because I make sometimes mistakes. So he's gonna hit us 6 times, and then we get a small gap. But he moves a lot more than the other ones, and he has access to every element. So as you can see, usually it's fairly decent, because he tries to get close to you, then he sets up an attack, which are usually fairly easy to evade, and then what he does end up doing is go for a Chaos Arcana as the 6th one. It's always the same, I believe. But depending on what he does, it's sometimes still kind of difficult to evade, especially if he leaves these on the ground. Otherwise, it's pretty doable. Oh, almost. I'm gonna try and just see if I can... Nope. Oh boy, yeah. And since he moves even when he's not attacking you, it's sometimes easy to miss the timing where you can stun him and hit him. But luckily this time it worked out pretty well. So I think this is not going to end up being just a test episode. I might release this one as the actual first episode, because it worked out really well. I managed to get a win. We had a nice showcase, but I'm not going to do just a seeded run, if you want to call it that, basically where I choose a good start right away. But we are going to basically try to go for random runs and see how those are going to work out. So I'm just going to show the rest of the game the entire time. So how this game starts, basically, I didn't show the tutorial of the game, is you are basically, you're not actually in this world. You visit a museum where they show you the olden times where there were the wizard trials, and you get to try out the wizard stuff and other things, but something goes wrong and you end up in the chaos trial. And that, we're gonna go back now, basically. They gave us the insignia now. No, you don't really see that, but you interact that and you go back to the real world, where you So I just wanted to preface this with that because we're going to go back to the real world now. Basically, or to the museum. So things are going to change. Overall run 38 minutes. So there we go. Basically this, it's the insignia that we just got. It's connected to the one here. So we go back and basically now we are the Wizard of Legends. So the things we can look at here now is going to just show us what we started with. So we had the awe cloak, we had the sunglasses. We started with these 4. And if we go in this direction, we can basically see these are the ones that we picked up during the trial. Those were all the relics that we've gotten. So you can basically revisit what you did here. And ultimately, this is where we're going to leave it. So, I hope you enjoyed this first episode of Wizard of Legend. If you did, please leave a like and a comment. And if you want to see me play more of this game, just stick around. We are going to go for a daily series here. So, there's going to be a new one tomorrow. And once again, thank you very much for watching and see you guys soon. Bye-bye.